check. Hey, what's up, guys? Not sure how many of you will actually be joining us live, how many people will be joining live tonight, but want to go ahead and do it. I had the time, I had a little bit of free time, so I wanted to jump into this. But just really quick to cast a little bit of vision for this. So if you've been on one of these lessons before, you know that I, in the past, have done a 1 hour lesson for $10 periodically. So I want to change that to a membership lesson. So the great thing for you is it's only $5 and you don't got to re-up every time. It's just you click the join button. And obviously if you're watching this, you've done that. But I don't envision these lessons necessarily be an hour long each time. I think they're a little more accessible, a little shorter, unless there's questions that happen. So the idea would be shorter lesson where you can just click on it, find it, and grab it like just on the go if you need to even. And then if there's people on here live that want to discuss questions or things more, then the latter part you wouldn't have to watch, but it would just be questions and Q&A and stuff. So if you hop on here and do have a question, let me know. I'd be happy to answer it. But I'm going to go ahead and jump in case there's people that just want to watch this back at a later point. So I wanted just to talk a little bit about a lot of fills that I do are super simple, to be honest, and a lot of them have to do with placement and very, very simple, straightforward patterns. If you're watching my videos, you kind of know that. So I wanted to specifically talk about kind of a fill style for the song Breakthrough, Eddie James. It's a really popular one. You guys ask for it a lot as far as to cover it, but I want to talk about how I place sometimes the fills in the song Breakthrough as it applies to other songs as well. So also, if you have any input as far as the mix, can't hear the drums, can't hear the track, can't hear me, just let me know on here, and I'll adjust it as needed. So, but Breakthrough, if you don't know, if you're not familiar with the song, it's let me look at the BPM here. The BPM of it is 147. So it's it's an up tempo, kind of straightforward driving song, and the fills I'm doing, if you're not familiar, like 4/2 is kind of a linear concept and idea. So 4/2 means 4 hands over 2 feet in a linear format. And so what I do is I try to break some of these patterns up in a way that fits the song. So let me kind of show you what I'm talking about and play a couple of these fills. They won't be necessarily perfectly in context because I don't want to just take a lot of time playing through them, playing through the song, but I'll show you what I mean, and then I'll kind of break down what I'm doing and kind of the approach I have to it. So here we go.
Intro 2, 3, 4. Intro 2, 3, 4. Interlude 3, 4.
So that's the whole vibe. And two things are happening to kind of make this interesting. One is snare placement, so where I put the snare in this fill, and then also the patterns that I'm choosing. So the pattern is I'm kind of mixing it up, but the basic idea is like 5/1. So 4/2 creates very like on the one kind of feels, but by doing like 5/1, although it's 6 notes total, just like a 4/2, by making it 5/1, it kind of breaks up that feeling. So again, what the idea is, it kind of pushes the tempo off of just a straight downbeat, and then by moving the snare around, I move the snare to these odd 16th notes, that kind of gives a little bit different feel. So Let me play it a little bit slow with the metronome, and then I'll kind of play it some more in context. Hopefully you get the idea of what I'm doing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 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 2 and 3 and 1 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and
So that's the idea, is I'm breaking up those what would be kind of a normal pattern of like a... Right, I'm kind of pushing it off the 1. I don't want it to be right down on the 1, so I'm moving it around a little bit. So 2 things I'm doing: changing the patterns where I got a group of 5, and then also moving the snare, pushing the snare where it doesn't come on the downbeat. So those things combined kind of give me a little bit of sense of better placement and kind of that off feel, even though really it's super simple, very straightforward, as far as a very easy to understand and articulate fill. But because of the placement, it kind of sounds and comes across a lot differently than just like a straight on the 1 linear fill. So let me play the song, and I'll play a couple more times in context. And yeah, here we go. So just kind of experimenting with that there. Let me speed it up. Not speed it up, I'm sorry. Let me speed this metronome back up to about the same tempo, and then I'll just kind of play over this a little bit more. So see what you think. Hey, Richard, great question. So real quick, and then I'll hop back in. Richard asked, where do you get the loops and this kind of stuff for this song? So multitracks.com. I'm playing everything in Ableton. So upside of Ableton live is you can split out every part. You can solo the drums. You can solo every instrument individually. Downside, it's expensive. Per song, it's like $35. So yeah, it's a lot. I'm fortunate to have access to our church library as the drummer here at the church. I play, we play these songs at church, so I have access to the library that we have, and I've got a lot. And then I'm using a Boss DB90 plugged in here for my metronome. So let me play this fill a couple times. And Richard, I think you may be the only one live right now on here. So if you got any questions, man, let me know.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1
So the whole point of this is, and my kind of idea going into it is not to overthink like some huge long phrase, but the idea is to come to something that's very simple and small bite-sized pieces that I can then loop, change, and edit. So I'm not thinking in long phrases. I'm thinking in 5/1, 4/2, 3/1, and I'm kind of putting these pieces together. So if you've been one of my previous lessons, you know this is like a mainstay of my playing. Not because I can't play anything else necessarily, but most people that I talk to, this is the kind of stuff that they need to start with until they build into the more complex things where I work in stuff like flams, paradiddles, other phrases into things that are, you know, a little more complicated. But for now, it's like, you know, I would recommend these kind of ideas and this kind of idea moving forward. So, but yeah, that's kind of the idea I have behind it is kind of this 5/1 placement. So again, let me play this kind of slow and give you a little more sense maybe of what I'm doing.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1 and 4 and 1 and 2 and
Okay, so a question about kind of linear ideas. So linear placement, when I'm talking about 5/1, is like 5 hands over 1 foot. So if I were to play that as a 16th note phrasing, let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's say 5/1 is going to be this.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4
So
and
16th
1
notes.
and 2 and 3 and
So here we
4
go.
and 1 and
5/1.
3 and 4 and 1
4/2. Ah, sorry. 4/2. 2/2. Right, so it's just that linear placement, straight placement. So I'm just taking like 16th notes and then breaking them up over my hands and feet. Instead of playing just straight 16th notes on my hands, just breaking that up over my hands and feet. So instead of playing like this, So I'm playing those kind of simple patterns, but strung together creates more complex sounding things. All right, Emmanuel Morales also on here. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, so it's about 15 minutes in, so this is kind of what I'm thinking would normally just be the break as far as the content that I would deliver in maybe a 15 to 20-minute lesson. So that's kind of the feel. I'm probably going to name this or rename this lesson Breakthrough Drum Fill, because that's kind of the idea I'm going with. So I'm going to play this a couple more times. Just play through the song a little bit more, a little bit fast, up to speed. And that way you can kind of get an idea of the way I'm placing this. If you've watched this, if you're watching this back at a later time, give me some feedback and let me know what kind of lessons you want to do. We're going to be doing this monthly. And then the second thing, so 2 things I'd really like from you if you don't mind, and you guys on here can help me with this. First thing, I want some feedback. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to learn about? And second, help me share this. Obviously, the more people I can get on here, the better. It doesn't lower the quality for you. In fact, I hope it would raise the quality for you. I can invest more into my channel. So that's what I'm trying to do with channel membership. So I would say, man, talk about this to a drummer, another drummer, and then all this stuff is going to be funneled through the community tab there on my page. So that's the goal of this. My computer's over here. That's why I'm looking at your comments over here. So Emmanuel, so you mix 5/1, 4/2, etc. Yes. So within a 16th note. So the idea is maybe to whatever you do, or maybe whatever your time is. Maybe it's 1 bar, right? So from 1 to 1. I'm going to mix these sounds up, mix these placements up. So let me do like a simple way. So 5/1 it's a little bit longer phrasing, so it may be harder to do, but it's kind of like math on the fly, right? When you're playing a fill and you can catch the 1, it's kind of like that. The more you practice these by themselves, the more comfortable you are playing them in a phrase. So for instance, let's do 3/1 and 2/2. So for instance, if I'm going to do 3/1, one measure.
1 E and 2 E
Okay,
and 3
I know.
E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 and 4 E.
So when I get to 4, I'm not going to do a 3/1 because I got to do a double kick like this. I don't really want to do a double kick, so maybe the last time, instead of on the last on 4, I may just play singles. So
1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 and 1 E and
right, to make that phrase work or fit a little bit better. So but yeah, it's all about mixing those up. So say if I do 3/1, 2/2.
1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 and 4 1 E and.
Right, so I did 3/2, 2/2, 3/1, 2/2, 3/1, and then singles. So that's the idea. You speed that up, and you're mixing and matching these ideas.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
So it's all about layers. So layer 1 is the phrase. Layer 2 may be adding in flams or another thing. Layer 3 may be dynamics, right? Emphasizing and de-emphasizing different notes. So for instance, just straight by themselves. Right, layering flams. Dynamics. So it's all about layering. To me, it's all about taking simple ideas and then layering stuff on it. I'm not trying to learn some big, complicated phrase that's got all these dynamic ideas. It's just layering simple things on top of each other because I can think that way. I always tell people, I feel like drumming is more like a language. I can teach you this huge, long sentence, and you can say that sentence over and over. I'd rather teach you the language, the words, the phrases, and that way you can piece together your own ideas. So I'm going to cut it off here. I'm going to play a little bit through this song. And again, if you're watching this after the fact, help me out. Give me some feedback. What do you want to hear? And spread the word. And help me make this community larger so I can help more people. So obviously that's not how I would play that song live, but just to demonstrate maybe a couple of those phrases and different ideas. So anyways, thanks guys so much for joining as a member of this channel. I'm going to say it a million times so you're sick of hearing it, but I would love your feedback and help me share this. I want to make my channel even more of a resource, and I want to find a way to give back. Thankfully, thanks to y'all, my channel has grown, and it continues to grow. So it's harder to give personal feedback, and kind of the heart of what I like to do is, the one-on-one conversation is the setting where I can really help people give some feedback. So I'm trying to create a venue and an avenue to help do that and facilitate that, and I think YouTube channel memberships is a very inexpensive and accessible way for me to help people more intentionally. So, yeah, thanks so much for hanging out, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, Emmanuel, yes. Speak on the question I had earlier before live started. What was it again? Oh, you sent it in on my community tab, right? Let's see, what was it? Emmanuel posted a question to the community tab before we started tonight, and it was, I'll pull it up here. So, oh yeah, he asked how to get comfortable, when it comes to playing live, practice stuff, and then how do you actually play that live. So, boils down to a couple things for me. First of all, the obvious answer is just to be so comfortable with the material. So how you do that, a couple things, this may sound so funny, but if you're trying to practice a fill or something, I would almost try to learn it faster than the actual tempo, like play it at the tempo of the song, and then actually learn to play it faster than the tempo of a song so you can be more comfortable with it. You've really mastered it. But really what it boils down to is, for me, instead of trying to memorize these big phrases or stuff, I want to get so comfortable with some simple ideas that they become like second nature, that I can just spit them out on command. It's really simple, an idea, a phrase that I can loop. So fills, I don't know how you approach fills or how you normally learn fills and do fills, but for me, it's not about learning some big complicated fill. I want to break, say if I listen to a song, I want to critically listen, and I want to break it down to like what are the simple patterns and what ideas are kind of stacked on top of each other to get this fill. Because if I'm trying to remember this huge like 2-bar, 3-bar thing, I may freeze and then I lost it. Whereas if it's just a simple idea that I've learned to kind of build up, then from there I can express it a lot easier. So I would say learn the songs at your level. So listen critically, figure out what are the kick patterns, where are the fills, where are the accents, and if you can't play it exactly like the album or the song, then do it in a way that you can play it and continue to strive to be able to play it in the full fashion. But I would just say like start where you are, but get so comfortable with the song that you can worship, that you're not focused on not messing up, you're focusing on worship in your band setting. So I know that may not be a full answer, but hopefully maybe through some of these lessons I can continue to talk about my approach to songs. And if you really see a lot of my fill videos I've already posted, if I'm going to be honest, it's a lot of the same stuff. I'm just showing you different applications of it, because for me it's all about getting comfortable with some very simple, sustainable patterns. Not trying to learn some big, grand phrase, which those are cool when you get them, and there's sometimes you have to do that. But more than that, I want to learn a couple of things and then be able to stack and mix and match them to fit the song. So I hope that helps. Man, feel free to type some more comments. I'll respond back to you on the community tab if I can and help some more. But yeah, I hope that kind of gives you a head start on some of that stuff. But man, thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry, get my computer's back here. And we'll see you guys next month or whenever we do this lesson next. Give me some feedback. What nights are good? Is Tuesday night good? Is Saturday way better? And then share this with a drummer and help me get the word out so I can be better for this community and invest in you guys more. So thank you so much for hanging out. See y'all next one.